Everyone, happy So What Day. I hope you're having a great start to your Tuesday. Today is a super fun day because, oh, the machine just said hello as well. Today is a super fun day because it is webcast day. So at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, in a couple of short hours here, we will switch on over to our education platform at sewingonline.sulky.com, and we will be doing our So Can She Organizer webcast. It is a completely free event, and you can still register. Plenty of time, like I said, couple hours. So if you've got the afternoon free, head on over, register. You'll get an embroidery design for free just for registering. Plus, you will get about 60 minutes of instruction for how to make these awesome little organizers. I know, I'm excited. So for all of you who have already registered, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that I'm going to be seeing you in a couple of hours. This organizer pattern features these really great vinyl pockets so you can see everything inside. They are completely zippered, so nice and contained. And then there's a magnetic snap to hold everything in place. And it's the perfect sort of canvas to showcase an embroidery design or some pretty quilting. And so today I thought we would do a riff on this cute little kitty design. This is from our Love to Craft embroidery collection. Let me pull that up for you. Here's the entire collection, all 6 designs that come in that collection. So you can see that kitty design is in the center along the top there. And I just switched up my threads from the same thread palette to kind of match my fabrics there. But you will get the Live, Love, Craft design absolutely for free just by signing up and registering for our webcast happening later today. Now, if you don't have your whole afternoon to be joining us here on So What, and then a little bit later for the webcast, you can watch it on demand at any time after the live event ends. So if you've got a pocket of time later tonight or even next week, you can watch the webcast in its entirety and at any time that's convenient for you. So be sure to register so you can get access to it, as well as that embroidery design and any tips, techniques, Q&As, all of that stuff associated with the webcast, you will be able to access as well through your library at sewingonline.sulky.com. So if that was not enough of a teaser for you, I have a little video from Caroline Critchfield, who is the Wonder Woman behind SoCanShe.com. And I'm going to play it for you now. It's a really short little video, but she also talks about the benefits of taking our webcast today. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for you, and then you'll get a little idea of who she is and a little bit about her website as well. So here we go.
Hi everyone, this is Caroline from SoCanShe.com. I am so excited to share with you today that I have teamed up with Sulky Threads to bring you a webcast of my Twice as Nice zippered pouch pattern. This free pattern is available on my website, and now Ellen March, one of the creative directors at Sulky Threads, is going to teach the pattern for you in a free live webcast. I think this is super awesome because some of my readers have asked me to show them how to make this in a video, and I have not been able to do that, so here's your chance to see it. It's going to be October 12th at 2 p.m. It's going to be live. You can register on the Sulky website. I'll put a link to that below. And there's more. Ellen has put together some kits for the Twice as Nice zippered pouch that include beautiful fat quarters from Art Gallery Fabrics, plus thread and stabilizer and pretty much everything you need. So I'll put a link to those kits. I've signed up for this webinar and I hope you will too. Join us on October 12th at 2 p.m. And remember, you can get the free pattern on my website at SoCanShe.com. Just search for Twice as Nice Zippered Organizer. I've also made available a printable option of this tutorial and pattern, which is totally optional. You don't really need to purchase the printable version, but you can if you like. The printable version also comes with the kits that Ellen has put together. So make sure you check out their kits. The fabric in them is really beautiful. So I can't wait till October 12th to watch the free live webcast with Ellen March. Make sure you visit my website, sewcanshe.com, for lots of free sewing patterns and tutorial and to see what I'm working on next. Happy sewing!
Yay! She's a doll. So that is Caroline, and she, this is one of her most popular tutorials, and when I came across it, I had to make it right away. So the other great thing about this, along with all the features I was talking about, is it has this kind of foam interlining to it. So it stands up completely on its own on your desk or table. So, you can use this for your sewing supplies like I have done here. These are some of the supplies that come with the kit that Caroline was talking about. And, you can use it for toiletries. You can use it for travel, so many different things. It also is a great, great gift idea for the holidays that are coming up. So here's a little bit more about the kits that are offered. We have this purple version here that coordinates with that machine embroidery collection I was telling you about, the Love to Craft collection. And then we have this sort of pinkish, mauvish, taupish version here as well. And the cool thing about it is it's a fat quarter friendly project. So each of the fabrics that you need is a fat quarter. So if you would like to use this print on the inside or as your binding and your zipper accent pieces, you simply just switch around those fat quarters and you can make an organizer that's completely different, yet coordinating to the one that I'm going to show on today's webcast. So these kits are still available. Make sure that you grab one up, and you're definitely going to want one after you see the webcast today. They're at a screaming deal, and the sale is only good until midnight tonight. So only $22.99 for this kit. It includes those fat quarters, the stabilizer that goes inside, the interfacing piece that we will be using for the zippers, 2 spools of thread, the vinyl. I mean, seriously, everything you need to create this is in that kit for less than $25. I think that you will find if you go to grab up all of these things, not only will you probably have some waste because, we have pre-cut the pieces that you need. They're not pre-cut in, the pattern shapes, but, not full yards, things like that. And what a great, great deal that Sulky is providing for this kit. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to mention is if you do want to do the embroidery, it's completely optional. The embroidery supplies are sold separately. We wanted to make this kit really affordable for everybody to pick one up. And if you want to use the Live, Love, Craft design that you get for free with with your free registration, you can use that design. Or if you want to choose the kitty design or one of the other designs that's featured in this collection, you can grab up a thread palette, and that includes all 6 designs. You'll get all 6 thread colors featured in this palette to stitch any one of these great designs onto your organizer or any other thing. Very versatile collection for all of you knitters, crocheters, pet lovers, that type of thing. So I do want to mention, if you want to do the embroidery, you'll need some extra soft and sheer extra stabilizer, as well as your chosen embroidery design and some polydeco or rayon thread for your embroidery, or whatever thread your design requires. So keep that in mind, that you will need some extra machine embroidery supplies if you choose that for your embellishment. Okay, so speaking of pets and pet lovers, we all like to feature our pets on our projects, and I hope you all enjoyed the description of today's So What, where I said that we will be personalizing our pet projects. And if you want to say that 10 times fast, please give it a go. At any rate, we have another new design collection that we are debuting right now because you might want to display a different pet on your organizer or on a tote bag or on a stocking or another pet project you might be making for the holidays, whether it's for your pet or for somebody who has a beloved pet, right? So this is our full Peekaboo Pets machine embroidery design collection. And you may remember quite a while ago we released our chili cat design, and we gave that away for free for a limited time so that you could all try our brand new Follain 12-weight acrylic threads. This thread collection is so unique. It's really, really fun and neat to work with. It's an extremely heavyweight thread. Like I said, it's 12 weight. And as you can see, it has kind of a fuzzy, furry texture to it. Can you see that up close? So you can stitch out Chili Cat and then brush him up to create this faux fur effect. It is so unique and so soft and cuddly and textured and almost, it has this 3D effect. So really, really cool things that you can do with your embroidery machine using this thread. So we had to come up with this embroidery collection to complement Chili Cat because so many of you wanted so many other pets. You said, what about dogs? What about other types of cats? So we tried to come up with 3 dogs and 3 cats that you could kind of mix and match using our Fur Fellain collection to create the cats and dogs in your life. So for example, for Chili Cat, you don't have to go with the grays and the yellows that are in the fur collection. You could switch it up and choose the browns and silvers and creams if that matches your cat. So here is that Fur Fellain collection. You get 12 spools of Fellain thread, and you will notice it's on this large spool. And now when you're doing these designs, they take quite a bit of thread. So keep that in mind. You also will want to make sure that you have a lighter weight bobbin thread. I'm going to go over lots of tips for using this thread because it does take some machine adjustments. It does take some patience, and the results, it's definitely worth it. So you can see this collection has a great assortment of those fur animal colors that you see in nature, that you see on your pets. So you can kind of mix and match and create a pet that looks like yours. Along with your Fellain fur collection and your 60-weight bobbin thread, I like to use just the regular Sulky 60-weight bobbin thread with these designs. If you want to match your bobbin thread to the top thread, more than just using a white or a black standard bobbin thread, you can use the Sulky Poly Light thread in your bobbin. That is also a 60-weight thread, and it comes in a variety of colors, so you can match your Poly Light to your Fellain thread if you so desire. I found it just fine to use either the white or the black bobbin thread, and I match my bobbin thread to whatever closely or matches closest to the fabric that I'm working with. So bobbin thread, Fellain in the top, and then you need quite a large needle to accommodate the heavy weight of the thread. So I like to use a 116 needle. Now, these titanium needles are awesome if you're working with a heavier fabric. I find a heavier fabric is going to be best to support all of those needle penetrations that these large stitch count designs require. You could certainly use a lighter weight fabric, but you're going to need multiple layers of stabilizer, or a pretty heavyweight stabilizer to add sort of a thread count to your fabric so that it can take on all of those stitches. So hopefully that makes sense. But these titanium needles are virtually indestructible. Great if you're putting this on denim, if you're using a wool felt, which is what I'm going to show. That's what I used for all of the stitch out samples I'm going to show you today, was a nice wool blend felt. You know, these needles are quite large. So if you are using a lighter weight fabric, just know they're going to create a larger hole than maybe what you're used to, because you need that large hole so that the thread has a place to go in the design. In addition to the titanium needles, you could also use the 116 universals. I know it's kind of taboo to use a universal needle when you're doing machine embroidery, but universal needles also have a slight ball point to them, much like an embroidery needle. So I have had success using the 116 universals with that Fellain thread. Okay, another thing you're going to want to pick up is the Follain wire brush. This brush is specifically engineered, right, for brushing out this thread. It has these wire bristles on it. You can see they're very dense, and it works so well when you're brushing these designs. You can go all in one direction if you want kind of a light bloom, if you will, for that thread. Or I have also had success kind of going in a circular motion close to the thread, and that really fluffs it up well. And after you get it going with that circular motion, you could just brush in one direction and kind of fan out the fluff. Okay? So people have asked me before, can you overdo it with the brush? Can I brush it too much? In my experience, the answer, my umbrella answer is no. However, once you start using your brush quite a bit, you could see mine has some little stray wires that have gone kind of AWOL, okay? You want to really be careful of those because you don't want to snag the thread loops. And I'm going to show you some of these designs really close up so you can see that when you have a design that's digitized for this heavyweight thread, the stitches are quite long so that they don't kind of overlap or stitch on top of themselves. You want an airy kind of open work digitized design. I may not be using the correct terminology when I say open work, but you want a design that has longer stitches to it so that you do have the ability to brush and fluff it out. If your designs were too short and placed too close together, you wouldn't have enough room for your thread to kind of bloom and sort of, fuzz out or fluff out, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. Also, stitches that are too close together are going to cause a lot of density underneath the design as well. And that will give you more density for your needle to penetrate as it's moving through the design. And you'll notice your needle kind of struggles to go through all of the weight of the fabric you're using, the stabilizer you're using, and that thick thread. So if you notice that that's happening, then either your design is not digitized for 12 weight thread or for heavy or brushed or a fur design, or you need a different needle. You need a tougher needle to kind of penetrate through all that. The other thing you want to do is make sure you are slowing your machine. You don't want to go super, super fast because that thread needs to make it all the way through the threading mechanism without breaking, without undue stress. And your machine embroidery is already at top speeds. So you need to slow it almost all the way down. And these designs have a lot of stitches to them. So like I said, it does require patience because that needle is going to go seemingly at a snail's pace. But again, the reward, it's definitely worth it. So along with slowing your machine, if you have one of these really state-of-the-art high-end embroidery machines that ties the thread off at the beginning and end, okay? Or it kind of, let me make sure I'm using the correct terminology here. It's going to auto-cut the jump stitches. You do not want your machine to do that, so you need to go into the settings and turn that off. On my Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 2, when I get to the stitch menu before I say go and start, it gives me a bunch of things. Do I want to baste around the design? Do I want to baste around the hoop? Do I want to automatically clip the jump threads? Color sorting, all of those things. You want to be really aware that you turn that function off if you're able to, because it's going to bring your top thread down to the bottom and almost create kind of a little knot. That is going to create so much density, and your needle is really going to struggle even with that very first stitch. So this means you're going to have more jump stitches to cut. And when you start your design, you let it go for about 3 or 4 stitches and then stop it and then clip your starter thread and then continue the design. That's what I used to have to do with my embroidery machine about 10-15 years ago, because it didn't have that option of manually or automatically cutting those jump threads. So I always started the machine, let it go a while, stop it after 3 or 4 stitches, and then clip that starter thread so that I could continue on. And really be aware that when you switch out your thread color, you need to clip those jump threads first. That's really a, #1 rule for machine embroidery anyway, is to clip your jump threads with each thread change. You can also clip them on the wrong side just to really alleviate any undue density, even with your lightweight bobbin thread. So make sure you are doing that as well. I want you all to have success with this thread. I also want to mention that people with brother machines have had greater struggles using this thread. And honestly, I can't really get to the bottom of it. We have our Sulky customer service team constantly working with these folks, reaching out to brother educators to try the thread so that we can come up with a solution so that everyone, regardless of brand, make, or model, is able to use the thread successfully. Along with machine embroidery, you can also use this thread for free motion stitching. It's also really beautiful on quilts. I had a quilt we did on the Sulky blog maybe a year or so ago. It's called the Vintage Picnic Quilt, and that Fellain thread really gives it kind of that vintage, almost yarn-like quality. You can use it for big stitch quilting, sashiko work, hand embroidery. It's really beautiful for that as well. So lots of different uses, but today we are talking about machine embroidery. Another thing you want to make sure and have when you're doing machine embroidery with the Follain thread is a lint brush. Now, this lint brush is $1 on the Sulky website. So, if you're ever needing that free shipping threshold and all you need is $1, go ahead and add that lint brush to your cart, or just add it to your cart anyways when you're gathering up the things that you need to sew Follain successfully. This is a great little brush because that tip can get into the bobbin race and really get a lot of lint out without pushing it into the machine. And then the brush is really great for your presser foot area. And, the needle where you put the needle in and that whole area. Because when you are stitching with this thread, here is a stitch out that is in progress. And you can see how long those stitches are with the Fellain. With that, it can accumulate some fuzz. I mean, the thread is fuzzy. That is what we like about it, right? So it's going to create a little bit of fuzz around this area. So here I'm just using a soft bristle toothbrush to kind of brush in a downward motion. You never want to brush up because you don't want any of that fuzz to go further into your machine. You always want to brush down towards the work. So when I swap out my thread colors and I'm clipping all those jump threads, I just give a little swipe with the soft-sided toothbrush or with that great lint brush that's at sulky.com and just kind of clear out the area and then continue with the next thread color. So if you're in a rush, if you're looking to do something quick, go for the Love to Craft embroidery design collection. If you've got some more time, you want to create something really, really stunning with a really neat effect that nobody is going to ever have seen before, go for the Peekaboo pets. They are a great size to also fit on your organizer. So I'm going to show you each design, what it looks like brushed and not brushed, because you don't have to brush these designs. You can leave them as is, and they still look really textured and cool. So this one is not brushed. And I do want to mention that this entire collection has a mixture of Follain threads for all of that fur that you see, and Sulky Rayon threads for the detail work. So the main part, or the detail part of this Santa hat, the detail in the ear, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and the whiskers, all of that is done in rayon thread. Okay, so you also need a mixture of rayon threads for those details. And again, you can change out the cat's eye color so it matches your cat's eye color. You know, think outside of the box and have fun with it. So here is Chili Cat. This is what he looks like right out of the embroidery machine before he gets brushed out. And then this is what I was showing you earlier. This, you know, how cool is this? You could also just isolate the white part of the Santa hat and just brush that out and leave everything else looking like thread work. So lots of different options. Another thing I wanted to mention, if you are working with a felt or wool felt, or even some like corduroy or flannel fabrics for the embroidery, which might be a little lightweight to accept these threads, but at any rate, you get the idea. If you're working with those types of fabrics, be really careful and deliberate when you are brushing out that thread, because the wire brush can come into contact with that felt or fleece, and it will brush that out as well. And then you won't have this nice definition around your cat or dog. You'll get a little bit of fuzz around on the fabric as well. So just really be aware of that too. All right. Oh, I already showed you that. Here is the Dapper Dog. All right, so this is our kind of lab or golden retriever mix. And again, you could switch up his thread colors and choose, you know, blacks and grays if you have a dog like I do. So really cute. You could also obviously change up his little tie, but this is our Dapper Dog, and this is what he looks like right out of the embroidery hoop, unbrushed. And then here is the brushing in action. You can see that his nose and then his little cheeks where his little whiskers are, those are all rayon, as well as his eyes and little detail work. And then here's what he looks like brushed out. So really, really neat effects you can create. All right, here's the Doting Dog. So this is our Chihuahua mix, or maybe a rat terrier. I don't know. You could really go a million different breeds with this guy. But he's got his little bone. The bone is done in rayon, so it will not brush out when you're brushing out the rest, as is the inside of his ears as well, and the eyes and nose. And then here we are brushing him out. And there you go. He looks nice and fuzzy. Super, super cute. Okay. And then here is our third dog, the Dazed Dog. So he's got a mixture of the white, the cream, the grays, little detail around his mouth. You could see the rayon are those tighter, closer together stitches, and all that fur are those super long stitches. So you really, really need to make sure you're following the stitch sequence chart so that you don't accidentally thread your machine with another color of Fellain and all of a sudden it starts stitching out the eye, and maybe you've lost track of what color you're on. If it starts stitching out something that was digitized for the 40 weight rayon, but you've got Fellain in there, you're going to have problems. The thread's going to start stitching over itself. The needle's going to get jammed up. It's not going to have enough room to go through and make a proper stitch. Your needle could break, your thread could break, you could have all kinds of problems. And by the time you get to the rayon of most of these designs, a lot of that fur, if not all of it, depending on the design, is stitched out. So you've already gone through all of that. So print out your stitch sequence chart, have it next to you, X out the threads you've already used so that you can match up the thread number that you're on with the number that the machine is advancing to, and you will be sure to swap out the correct thread color and the correct thread weight. All right, and here we are brushing out the Dazed Dog so you can see a little bit more of that detail work with the rayon. And then there he is, super fuzzy. Kay, I just saw your comment. She says, I guess we should really follow instructions. Oh, exactly. Okay, let me address some of the other questions and then we'll get to the cats. All right. When using the rayon, do you still use a special bobbin thread? Thank you for bringing this up. So you can use the 60 weight bobbin thread for the rayon as well as the Fellain. So you won't need to swap out your bobbin thread for the portions of the design. However, since we are moving from Fellain to rayon, you will have to swap out your needle. You don't want to be using the 116 needle for those rayon portions because it's going to create too large of a hole in your work. Your rayon thread could not be as taut as it needs to be because it has too much room to groove in the needle eye during the stitch out. So you will need to swap your needle when you swap to the 40 weight rayon. You can use a 90-14 or an 80-12 for the rayon portions of the design. So like I said, these do take patience. You're going to have to swap threads. You're going to have to do your lint brush. You're going to have to slow your machine. You're going to have to clip your jump threads. You're going to have to swap out needles. So sit down, relax, have a cup of coffee, enjoy the process. You'll get to know a lot about your machine, its capabilities, and what to do. So Yvonne says, is that felt as the background fabric? Yes. So a couple of those I used just a traditional craft felt sheet, and a couple I used a really high quality wool felt blend for the background. I've also done this design on a linen blend, and I really had to add a lot of stabilizer. I used Soft and Sheer Extra fused to the back of the linen, and then I also used 2 layers of Sulky Tear Easy. And then when the embroidery was complete, I carefully tore away the Tear Easy 1 layer at a time, leaving the Soft and Sheer Extra intact when the embroidery was complete. And actually, you know, that those 2 layers of Tear Easy kind of remain behind and underneath all those stitches, behind the design. So it really stabilizes it over time. But just know that if you're making a wall hanging or a stocking or something that's going to hang, that's going to be a really dense part of the project. So if you aren't using interfacing or you're not stabilizing it properly, the design portion of that could kind of sag over time. So the linen, although it made for a really pretty sample, probably not the most practical fabric to use for that. But again, if I was making it into a quilt or a wall hanging, I could add some additional interfacing to the back after removing that Tear Easy stabilizer and really, you know, stabilize it over time. So that's another idea. Lots of people talking about their own pets, loving them. If you do have questions, put them in the live chat or down in the comments if you're watching on Facebook. Okay. I think I answered your question about the background fabric. You do want something a little heavier weight. A denim looks really cool. Like I said, any of these felt blends, something like that. Okay. And yes, a tiny makeup brush is also great to have by your machine. You know, you could keep those things in your organizer that we will be making this afternoon on our webcast. So create a little Fellain toolkit. That way, every time you go to use that thread, you've got your lint brush or your toothbrush or your makeup brush. You've got the big needles that you need. You've got your bobbin thread in there. Maybe a little squeezer scissors that I like to have next to me at all time. I'm always talking about these, my favorite little snips that are also at sulky.com. Keep your little Fellain brush in there, and then every time you go to use that thread, all you have to do is grab your little Fellain organizer, take it to your machine. You have everything you need all together. I wish I was that organized, and why don't I take my own advice? All right, loving the brushed out look the best. All right, so let's get back to the cats. I showed you Chili Cat, and we have 2 other cats that we've added to the collection now. This is Curious Cat. Isn't she so curious? So, you know, some of the grays, the creams, the peaches, you know, really cute little Curious Cat. This is what she looks like right out of the embroidery hoop, not brushed. And now we're giving her a little bit of a brush and all completed. So really, really cool. And it's up to you how much you want to brush this out. Maybe you just want a little subtle kind of fuzzy look, or maybe you want some really long kind of fur trails, you know, beyond that design perimeter. So that's entirely up to you how much or how little you want to brush out the designs. And then here, I don't know, he might be my favorite. This is Cool Cat. All right. I mean, he's super cool. I happen to like him maybe the best. I don't know. I don't even have a cat. I don't even, you know, I gotta love him, right? So here we are brushing out Cool Cat. And again, you can change out the color of his sunglasses. Maybe you want them to be purple. Maybe you want them to be metallic. That would be really cool. So you could certainly swap out those colors based on the project you're making or the cat that you own, that type of thing. So here's Cool Cat in all his glory, totally brushed. You could see I left the mouth area a little less brushed than the rest of this guy, but you just gotta love it. So for anyone who's just joining us, I'm going to show you the whole collection again so you can, if I can find it here. I think my eyesight is going, you know? It's just not what it used to be. All right, here's the whole Peekaboo Pets collection again for you to see. And the reason it's called Peekaboo Pets is you could have them peeking out of something, right? So maybe you have a denim jacket and he's peeking out of the pocket. Or maybe you have a tote bag that you're making that has a pocket in the front. You could have your pet peeking out of that pocket. Then you can add a monogram or a name to further personalize the tote. So that's kind of why they're called Peekaboo Pets, because you're really only seeing like their headshot, right? They're just peeking up to say hello. So really, really cute, and another design collection that you could use on your So Can She organizer, which we will be talking about today. And again, if you wanted to check out, let me make sure I get on the correct, there we go, our Love to Craft machine embroidery collection. You can add this to your cart as well. It comes with or without the thread palette. So if you want to have these 6 threads, they coordinate perfectly to the purple colorway of the So Can She organizer kit. So these colors are all in this fabric collection. You could see the inside, I used this kind of granny square print, really, really cute. And it has that olive green and all the lavenders and the turquoise. So, and then this, which looks like a striped fabric, is actually really cute little crochet hooks. And then I cut the binding on the bias so that it kind of had a candy stripe effect around the bag. So that thread collection, it's all rayon. It coordinates with the whole collection and coordinates with the purple version of the organizer. Again, our other kit that we have available, only on sale until midnight tonight, is this mauve, pinkish, taupish. Absolutely love this colorway. It's got kind of a Southwest vibe to it and super, super trendy and popular right now. And again, you can swap out these fabrics and put this one on the inside. Go for a more understated kind of look and put this cream with the arrows on the outside. And you can use these as gifts that you're going to give for the holidays. You can add embroidery to this one as well. I'm going to be giving you all those tips later this afternoon in about an hour or so. Again, we will be heading on over for the So Can She organizer webcast at sewingonline.sulky.com. Make sure you are registered. Even if you cannot attend live with us at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, you will have access to all the materials on demand to watch at any time. And you'll get that free embroidery design from the Love to Craft collection. The Live, Love, Craft design is completely free just for registering for the event today. So I'm going to go through a couple questions and make sure I've addressed everyone, and then make sure you've registered. If you haven't, there is a link in the description of today's post. If you're not seeing the entire description, make sure to hit that little See More button, and the whole description will pop out, and you will see a link to register for the webcast. Head on over there, create an account if you haven't already, and then the webcast will live in your library. So again, you can watch it at any time or join us when we go live. All right, Rose says those designs look great. Would look great done on fleece clothing as well. That's perfect. Does the brush snag the rayon? Excellent question. So I have brushed those Peekaboo Pets designs more times than I can tell you. We also have this really beautiful lion design that we stitched out way back when we first launched the Fellain thread. And that one travels to shows and events, and it gets brushed by the public, and it has been brushed. The rayon does not snag or fluff when this brush hits it. So I think one of the reasons is that the Fellain is so textured that it's actually kind of raised up a little bit farther than the rayon from the fabric surface. So when you're brushing across it, you're almost brushing over the top of those rayon details. Now, you certainly can just avoid the rayon if you don't want to sort of tempt fate. But I have brushed those over and over and over again, and I've gone right over the rayon, and I have not had a problem with anything happening to that thread. Again, be very careful when you're brushing out, because those long Fellain stitches, you don't want to catch them and snag them out with your brush. So be aware of that. Okay. Aurora says, I need that organizer too. I know, come join us at 2 p.m. It comes together really quickly, so it makes a really, really great gift, and it looks so professional. We have the addition of that vinyl inside, which nobody's going to even suspect that you made this yourself, but please tell them. Shout it far and wide that you have made this beautiful thing. Beginners, intermediate, advanced, sewers of all levels can make this, and I'll show you just how easy it is, how easy it comes together. Okay, Kathy says, is a special type of brush recommended? So we have this brush. Is called the Follain wire brush. This is what we recommend you use with the Follain thread. It's a relatively inexpensive little tool, and you can set it aside and have it at hand for all of your Fellain projects. I have tried using a stiffer toothbrush just to see the differences and how they perform. And the toothbrush, you know, it will give you a tiny amount of little bit of fuzz on top of your work. If you really want that blooming effect, that faux fur effect, you've got to go with the wire brush. It just really, blooms that thread so well. Melanie says, do you brush with or against the direction of the stitches? So you can go either way. It is recommended, whichever way you choose to go that way for the entire design. I will say that I have tested this out multiple ways, and to really fluff up that thread, the best thing I found was to go in kind of a circular motion without lifting up the brush, just kind of a circular motion on different parts of the design to kind of get it going, and then brush in that same direction. Okay? And that really, really fluffs it up really nicely. Okay. Oh, Barbara's saying, can we go to sulky.com to register? Thank you for asking this, Barbara, because to register for the webcast, you have to go to our education website, which is sewingonline.sulky.com. Sulky.com is where you will buy your kit and all of your great Sulky threads and stabilizers and notions. Sewingonline.sulky.com is where all of our webcasts, videocasts, and special events are. The reason that these are two different websites is because when you head on over for one of our events, we have live streaming, we have live chat, we have viewing rooms, we have specific event pages where you can grab up all of your freebies, and quite honestly, it's too much to have it on the same site where you buy your products. So there are two different websites. If you already have an account at sulky.com, you can use the same credentials at sewingonline.sulky.com, but you do have to create an account there as well. So if you choose a different email and password than you use at sulky.com, make sure you write that down. Keep a little handy little password book, or keep it in your phone or something safe so that you know which password and username to use whether you're buying your stuff at Sulky.com or watching our video casts and webcasts. So I know it can be confusing, but you'll register for the webcast over on our education site. And I link directly to the webcast offer page in the description of today's post. So you can just click on over there and it will prompt you to register and get an account if you already, or if you don't already have one. Okay, thank you, Robin. There is a link on Sulky.com that takes you to Sewing Online. You are right, there is. So, all right, you have your kit, first time participating in the web class. Great. Who else is a first timer, either here on So What, or it'll be your first webcast today? I'm so excited for you to experience it because, you know, I've done a lot of online classes, especially over this past year where we couldn't be in person. And I really wanted to see what was out there and how everybody was presenting their great content. And I really think, you know, Sulky is very innovative in this platform that they have. And, you know, the ability to show different cameras for, you know, different events that we have. You know, when you come to a webcast, you're seeing a presentation and you'll see the instructor kind of over here in a little bubble talking to you. And we may or may not have, you know, some shorter video clips that we show throughout as well to kind of further explain the steps. So that's what you're getting with a free webcast. When you sign up for a video cast, you will be getting full video instruction along with the same presentation and instructor talking to you during the live event. So that's the difference between a free webcast and a video cast, which are normally about $5.99 to attend. For your $5.99, you usually get, you know, some more freebies like that embroidery design I was talking about today, but you'll get multiple camera views to watch the project actually come together and kind of troubleshoot things that you might experience while you're working your way through that project. We also have special events that we do every once in a while, and some longer format courses called sewing sessions. Right now we have our Serger sewing session going on right now, and it's a completely on-demand long format course that you can take with multiple videos, lots of information from the instructor, extra printables. There's a lot to those longer format courses. So lots to experiment with and ways to kind of further your sewing education and have fun while you're doing it as well in the comfort of your own home. You know, wear your pajamas, kick back and relax, be at your machine if you want. And, you know, or if you don't, you can even watch it on your phone, you know, while you're cooking dinner. So lots of options with these virtual offerings. Okay. Marie cannot decide which pet she likes the best. It's true. Oh, Leslie, hoping for another New Year's Eve party. Should I let the cat out of the bag? Okay, I'm just going to say we may have one this year, and I hope you sign up for it. Okay. I can't tell you about it quite yet, but hint, hint. Okay. And Dawn, thank you for the feedback. Dawn says the Serger class was so informative and inspirational for me. That is so great to hear. And we've had lots of feedback on that Serger course. So whether you're looking for a serger or you haven't tried using a serger, or you're not sure you really need one, or you have one and you never use it, our Serger sewing session with Katrina Walker has been getting rave reviews. So check that one out while you're registering for today's free webcast. It's at sewingonline.sulky.com, and you can kind of browse around the education offerings and add all kinds of things to your library. All of our legacy webinars that we have done over the past however many years, those are all there as well. So you can have some blasts from the past and get some really great education from some of the best, sewing stars and educators out there. Okay, Ruth says, wish you had a golden retriever or an Aussie dog. Well, I think that our Dapper Dog is kind of similar to a golden retriever. No? I think he is. He could be more golden if you need. And once you brush him out, he can be even more furry as well. So hopefully he works out for you. Again, don't be afraid to swapping out those Fellain thread colors. When you grab up the Fur Fellain collection, which is these 12 colors right here, these are the 12 that are in the collection. So you won't have to go hunting for any of the colors that are featured with those 6 designs. You can just grab up the Fur Fellain collection and you have all 12. And then you can kind of mix and match to create the dog or cat that speaks to you or that you have or that you're going to gift away. All right. Katrina Walker is awesome. Ooh, Tammy says a beginner's embroidery class would be awesome. That's a great, great idea. We have a machine embroidery for beginners YouTube video series, and that is for the absolute beginner who maybe is just now opening a machine or an embroidery machine for the first time. We talk about the technology you need to know, the supplies that are helpful to have on hand to kind of create like a starter kit so that you can kind of embroider anything you want right off of the bat. And then recommendations for that first project, keeping it simple so that you have success, so that you want to continue learning more about what your machine can do. So you can find that on our YouTube channel. We've got a playlist all about it. It's machine embroidery for beginners, or it might be beginner machine embroidery. It's been a while, but I think you'll notice it when you go to our playlists. All right. Yes, there is also a free fox design. If you want to try out the Fellain thread, we have a free fox design on our free projects page at sulky.com. You can download that and use the format of your choice for your machine and see how your machine handles it. Do all the tips that I said. Get the needle that's large enough. Make sure you have that lint brush on hand. Make sure you're using a lighter weight bobbin thread. Make sure your machine is slowed down. Make sure you have disabled that auto thread cutter feature, and you will have success. So please enjoy. Again, try out the Fellain using that fox design and then kick it up a notch and try out the Peekaboo pets. I think you will really, really enjoy working with this thread, and, doing some special effects with needle and thread is, one of the coolest things we can do with our embroidery machine, because it looks very impressive, but the machine did almost all of the work for us. And that is what I love most about machine embroidery. All right. So again, I'm going to say goodbye here because I need a little break before we head on over to our free webcast today, the So Can She Organizer. I hope you all join me in about an hour at sewingonline.sulky.com. Be sure and register. We've got 2 awesome door prizes you can win if you're attending the live class today. Hint, hint, it might be a slimline box of thread. Okay, I know, I reveal too much. I give away all the surprises, but I just want you to know, attending means that you're eligible to win our great door prizes throughout the event as well. So lots of perks to joining us today, this afternoon, on the webcast. So thanks for joining me here at So What. I appreciate you all. I love spending my Tuesdays with you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And again, join me in 1 hour for the So Can She Organizer webcast. And other than that, I will see you all next week for another episode of So What. Have a great day.